And we're back, and this is the part 2 of the episode 14 commentary. Here we are going on the beach to go and kill some vampires. It was kind of interesting trying to decide which vampire lore I was going to stick with. Actually, I should talk about the stupid little stakes really quick. Toothpicks probably would have worked, but I didn't have any toothpicks, so I ended up taking matchsticks and getting my knife out and whittling the end of the match into a point, which basically made it look like a toothpick. It was kind of irritating, in the end when I realized a toothpick would have worked just as well, but they ended up looking a little more organic this way. So in the end, it was fine. What was I talking about? I lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. Vampires, California... Crossbow! It was the crossbow I was going to talk about. Okay, trying to find a damn crossbow was a really giant pain in the ass. What that actually is that she's playing, or that she's holding, is one of the Sequest harpoon guns I had from my Sequest little plastic dolls that I painted brown, but left the silver arrow part on the top, and figured it was close enough and no one was going to really nitpick me too badly, I hoped. So we kind of, I always say we, I'm sorry, I decided to kind of leave that in there and hope nobody noticed. And here comes the part where Sam kind of realigns himself with Dean and is no longer totally on Buffy's side, which, is as it should be. That shot right there, it's hard to make them all stand up sometimes, and so this is what happens. That photoshopping fire, oh, good lord. I called Reese up and I said, can I put a bonfire on the beach? And she was all, oh yeah, that'd be great, except the bonfire's in like every shot, so I had to go ahead and Photoshop that fire into almost, every shot from now to the end of the episode. It was just a giant pain in the ass. So next time I ask you, Reese, if I should put a bonfire in the episode, say no, because it was just too much work. I know what I was talking about. I was talking about the lore. Trying to decide whether or not we went with Buffy on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. To kill a vampire, you had to stake them through the heart. That was like the main way they dispatched vampires. Whereas on Supernatural, we learned that you have to decapitate them. But because we were doing a crossover, I thought, you know what? We're in California. We're in Buffy's world, quote unquote. So we're gonna do it her way, which I think worked out just fine. So here we are. Dusting a lot of vampires. I actually was never pleased with how that dusting effect ended up looking. It's fine. I mean, I understand my limits of Photoshop, or how I'm limited on Photoshop, so it's one of those things. That's as good as it was going to get. It wasn't like what it was in my head, but that's okay. Here comes Dean and his big choice. Who does he save first, Buffy or Sam? And now the way I reason this is that he was doing it the most... It wasn't necessarily that he picked Buffy first. It was that out of how everyone was situated, it was easier to get Buffy away from that vampire and then get to Sam. So it was more like, I pass this obstacle, I roll, I can hit this next obstacle. It wasn't that he was necessarily picking Buffy first. People were kind of a little, why did he pick Buffy first? They automatically thought he would go for Sam first. Except that for Sam, you see, there was a little more effort involved. He had to get the vampire off, hold her still. Sam had to stand up, stake her. Buffy could have been dead by then. So, it just made more sense in the story that they go in, that he went and saved Buffy first. Although Sam does use this to his advantage in episode 19 when he guilts Dean into, not talking about something because he wasn't saved first then. I meant to talk about the vampires when they were still alive, but right there is one of the vampires that Lady Mango sent me. He smelled like coconut, and Lily, my cat, really, really liked him. Probably because he smelled nice. But the other vampire that she had, or the other Barbie that she had sent that I made a vampire, was that one with the streaks in her hair. I'm telling you, the Barbies they make today are not like the Barbies I played with when I was 6 or 7. Sam not wanting to be on Buffy's team, there was a whole subplot in here that I totally axed, and I don't know, I think I just didn't have time and there was no place for it, where like every time Dean and Buffy talked to one another, they called they called each other mean names. And every time Sam would be like, oh, we have code names? I want to come up with a silly name for myself. And he would always be, I want to be Snuggles, or, these other really random, names. And, it just ended up being silly, and I cut it out. Because sometimes I do realize when things are, this episode I think was 6 parts long, so I do occasionally realize when I am being kind of overly wordy or whatnot. High-fiving. Love the high-fiving. And I think we're done, aren't we? Yes, rock music plays. And you'll notice Sam and Dean look like they're actually in that car. I'm getting better at Photoshop. You have to admit. I'm getting better. Well, thank you again for joining us. That was episode 14 commentary, and we'll see you all later.